These are my quick picks for UFC Fight Night, Cejudo versus Song in Seattle. I'm going to get straight to the point. I think Song Yadong is going to win this fight by decision, probably. I think Henry's good enough to survive, and this fight is set up to help build Yadong Song's name in the UFC. Henry Cejudo is probably going to retire after this fight again. Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I'm siding with Anthony Hernandez. I think he can find a finish. If it doesn't go to a decision, he'll probably get a submission. He already knows the keys to victory versus his opponent. And the last time he fought him, he had some injuries going into the fight and was still able to defeat him. Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. Now, this one I did flip on. I was originally thinking Rob Font, but I personally thought Gene Matsumoto lost his last fight versus Brad Katona, or at the very least, I thought it was a draw. Either way, it was really close. But in the main event, I feel like the UFC wants to push Matsumoto, and they're going to use Rob Font to do it. But if you're looking for some underdogs, Rob Font is definitely one of them. Gene Silva versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. I just got to go with Gene Silva. He looks great. He's great on the feet, as you know, and he's a dangerous fighter. Next fight, Alonzo Menfield versus Julius Walker. Well, this is tough to pick Menfield based off his recent performances, especially against Carlos Ulberg, where he just ran into him, and that was pitiful. But I think they're trying to preserve Alonzo's name, and they're going to use Walker to do it. No relation to Walter Walker. Next, Kitalaba versus Ibo Aslan. I gotta go with Ibo Aslan. I think he'll get a KO, but if it goes distance, I think he'll get that decision as well. Andre Fili versus Costa Alquizal. This is another tough fight to call, but I'm gonna go with Andre Fili. This is definitely gonna be a close fight, but I gotta ride with Fili on this one. Nick Klein versus Mansour Abdul Malik. I'm going to go with Abdul Malik. Definitely don't like these odds. He did look like he was gassing in his last fight. I'm sorry, not the last fight. His Contender Series fight. Nick Klein is definitely talented, and we haven't seen much of him, so I don't know if he's going to be able to offer much game past a quick submission, but we'll see. Next, Ricky Simone versus Javid Basharat. I'm going with Javid Basharat. I think he'll learn from his last mistake, and he'll do more, just barely enough more to win the fight. And he has all the physical advantages, and he's going up against a dog. 230 dog is kind of ridiculous. So this is definitely another good dog to look at. Austin Vanderford versus Nikolay Baretnikov. So I have Vanderford here, but I'm not too sure about this. I might have to switch this to the Kazakhstan fighter. Let's go ahead and do that right now. No, let's not do that. Let's stick with Austin Vanderford. My initial reasoning for this was just I feel like he has a better experience, but that might not be the case. We're getting, like I said in my last video, we're at a point where just because you fought in UFC or Bellator does not make you the better fighter. Doesn't mean you have the better experience. Those days are long and gone, I think. And we'll know even more about that theory after these fights. Some of these people, they're fighting all these various organizations which we've never heard of or we barely hear of. And they can still come into the UFC and put on great performances and get victories. Next, Nerzulton. I'm picking Nerzulton. He's fighting up a weight class at middleweight this time. I think he's coming in on short notice, but this is just another hard fight to call. Eric Messino looks good on the scales, but we can't just go off of looks. And then Modestas Bukaki versus Rafael Cerqueira. This is another fight that could go either way. These odds are, I think, ridiculous. They both got KO power and they're both game, but I got to give the edge to Modestas.